Hello, how are you? It's a pleasure to be here to present to you the vegetarian nutrition booklet that we did with the International Vegetarian Union. My name is Milena, and I'm a plant-based dietitian in Brazil. And together with Marli, which is the president of the International Vegetarian Union, we developed this material to help you teach your kids and adolescents on veganism. So let's dive right in. I'm going to share my screen with you so that we can take a look at this material together. Here you go. The intention of this booklet is to present to you a healthy vegan diet. But before we go any further, let me ask you a question. Are you a vegetarian or a vegan? Do you know anybody that is? Have you ever heard these words before? Veganism is growing worldwide, so it's very important that we speak to our children about this. But not only our children, to our family, to our friends, to our colleagues. Veganism is a way of living. It goes beyond what the person chooses to eat. It also encompasses clothing, cosmetics, entertainment, and other areas. But here in this booklet, we're going to focus on the nutrition part. Vegetarianism represents those who opt to stop completely eating any kind of animal meat. It doesn't matter if it's from cow, fish, chicken, from pigs, or any other animals. And the person may or may not include eggs, dairy, and honey in their diet. Regarding of what they do, there are different subtitles. So ovo-lacto vegetarians are those who consume eggs, milk, and dairy. Lacto-vegetarians do not consume eggs, but do consume milk and dairy. Ovo-vegetarians are the opposite. They don't consume milk and dairy, but they do consume eggs. And strict vegetarians are those who don't consume any animal-sourced products. These are the vegans. There is a term that is becoming more and more talked about, which is whole food plant-based diet, or simply plant-based. This term was created to differentiate a healthy from an unhealthy strict vegetarian diet. In scientific literature, we do see some authors who include small amounts of meat in this diet because they say that it won't bring a bad health outcome for the person who chooses to go this way. But the term in itself was derived from a strict vegetarian diet. And what takes a person to choose to stop eating these foods? There are many reasons. And here we brought the three main ones. So first, for having better health. We already know that an appropriately planned vegetarian and vegan diet can be healthful, nutritionally adequate, and may provide many health benefits, such as reducing risk for many of the main diseases that we have nowadays worldwide: type 2 diabetes, some types of cancer, obesity, and heart disease. And this is because a balanced vegan diet is naturally richer in fiber, vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals. The second reason is for love of the animals, for compassion. Some people believe that it's not fair to use of sentient beings, which means that the animals, they can feel pain, they can feel love. And what exactly differentiates a cow from a dog or even a pig from a cat? The third main reason is to protect the planet. We already know that much of the land and water on Earth is being used for animals, either for having a place for them to grow or for having land to plant foods to give to the animals. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to plant foods, give to the animals so that the person eats the animal and gets their nutrients from there. It's easier to not use the animals as nutrient crossovers. And this is a term that is really used in the IVU's Guide to Vegan Nutrition for Adults. We're going to leave a link for it in the end of this material. And where to start? There are many ways to start. It doesn't have to follow only one path. We do leave here some ideas. So first is to respect one another. If you know the person is vegan, don't offer them foods that contain animal products in it. Eat more plant-based natural foods, which means more fruits, vegetables, legumes, seeds, nuts, cereals, and eat less meat, chicken, fish, dairy, and egg products. Try Meatless Monday. It's a worldwide movement where no meat, eggs, or dairy is eaten on Mondays. But if Monday doesn't work for you, don't worry about it. It could be any day of the week. And even if you can't do it a whole day, starting by one meal is already a huge step. Go to the supermarket, to the farm, to street markets. Look at the variety, the color, the texture of the different foods that you find. Look at the foods that you're not used to buying, that you don't know the tastes. And speaking of that, try different foods is also an option. It doesn't matter which food group it's from, but just feeling the texture and opening yourself to new tastes is a great step too. And don't like it, don't give up if you don't like it at first. Try again on a different day with different people in a different dish. And read more about the subject. Today we have so many books, so many websites, so many options to learn more about veganism, about vegetarianism. And how do we make a powerful plate? This is very important. First, think of eating like a rainbow. Your plate should have many colors. And your plate should include, your whole diet should include whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, vegetables, and fruits. These food groups, in adequate amounts, guarantee the necessary nutritional balance for growing healthy and strong. A good measure is to divide your plate. When you're making your plate, you just imagine lines there. So look at this picture here. You divide it in half. In one of the sides, you divide in half again. In one of the smaller compartments, you're going to put your whole grains. You could also put potatoes here. In the other one, you're going to put your legumes. So for example, in this plate, we have rice, corn, a little piece of bread, and on the other side, beans. The bigger compartment of the plate, you're going to put cooked and raw vegetables, and you could also add fruits, seeds, and nuts. It's very important that you don't have to follow the exact amount on this plate. This plate has approximately 750 calories, but what matters is to follow the proportion of the foods and the colors, preferably. So here we leave the different food groups and many options of the foods that each group contains. If the child, if the adolescent needs more calories for any reason, instead of doing the 3 compartments like this picture shows, you could just draw 3 imaginary lines that are the same size. So in 1/3, you're going to put your cooked and raw vegetables. In the other third, your cereals and or potatoes. And in the other one, your legumes. And here we leave exactly what goes into each food group. So whole grains, we're talking about brown rice, black rice, red, wild rice, quinoa, oats, corn, barley, wheat. There are many options. And regarding of where you're from, you're going to have more of some of these. When we're talking about refined grains and sugars, they should be minimally consumed. So either the sugar that you add in things or candies, cookies, ice cream, cakes, they don't really have nutritional value. So that's why it's important to keep them in small amounts. Legumes. So here we have beans, lentils, chickpeas, soy, peas, and also foods that are derived from these. Tofu, seitan, tempeh, hummus. Nuts and seeds. Almonds, cashew, Brazilian nuts, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, chia, sesame, hemp seeds. And just for curiosity, a peanut is it's usually seen as a nut, but it's actually a legume. But when we look at the nutritional classification, it's considered a nut because it has such a high fat content on it. But that's just for curiosity. When we're talking about vegetables and fruits, the variety is huge. So we should just think about eating as many as we can and the most colorful that we can. There are important nutrients that should be looked at. So when we think about a vegetarian diet, especially a vegan diet, usually somebody will ask, what about your protein? If you eat in the amount that your body needs, you will have enough protein. And legumes are the most important source of protein in a vegan diet. So, and you should also know that the protein from plants has the same effect as protein from animals. It's not a lesser quality. Calcium, the body needs it to form and maintain the bones for muscle contraction. So it's very important to have this in a good amount. When we're thinking about the plant sources that have calcium, there are legumes, dark leafy greens, except for spinach, Swiss chard, and beet greens. The calcium in them is harder to be absorbed by the body. Sesame seeds and tahini, which is the sesame paste. Besides this, legumes and fortified foods like vegetable milk. It's important when you're buying a vegetable milk, to look if it has calcium in it. Most of them do, but not all. In the vegetable milk that we make at home, that one does not have good amounts of calcium. Vitamin C, it's abundant in fresh fruits and vegetables. It helps increase the absorption of iron. So it's very important to have fruit and vegetables when you're eating iron source foods. And we did skip that one. So although it's very abundant in nature, when we're talking about plant sources, we're going for legumes, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. So every time you're eating legumes, put a fruit with it. You could put it with the food. So here in Brazil, it's very common in a part of Brazil to eat banana with beans, for example. Or you could put it in the salad, or you can have it as a dessert. Vitamin B12, it's important because it's part of the formation of every blood cell, and it's also part of our nervous system. So we don't have plant sources that are rich in vitamin B12. We do need to go for fortified foods and drinks and supplements. And it's very common that vegan will have to supplement this vitamin. Omega-3 fatty acids, we find them in flaxseed, chia seed, walnuts, and hemp seeds. We do leave here some vegan cooking substitutes for eggs, milk, honey, and gelatin. It's important to keep in mind that when substituting this, you're going to use them for cooking purposes, but it's not going to have the same nutritional value. And maybe sometimes the taste won't be the same either. And we also leave here a guide with foods that may be new to you, such as aquafaba, which is the water from cooked chickpeas, chia seeds, chickpea powder, jackfruit, miso, nutritional yeast, plant milks, quinoa, seitan, tahini, tempeh, texture vegetable protein, and tofu. If it's available to you and you're curious and you don't know some of these, you could just put them on Google and see the image and get more information on it. We do leave here a place to find more information on veganism, which is the guide to vegan nutrition for adults that was made by the International Vegetarian Union and written by Dr. Eric Slivich. We do leave also some books for older teenagers and adults, and some books for children and adolescents. It was a pleasure being here with you, and I hope this material really helps you on your journey. Bye-bye.